Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Radio Culturale show. During the summertime, we had a discussion on how North American music was influenced by music from around the world. And in that discussion, we touched a little bit about how music from around the world influenced North American music. But we will continue on that discussion, but with some different students here today. So I would like to introduce some of our OIA ambassadors who are here with us. So we have Yassin, and we have Vinusiya, and we also have Hong here, who you've already heard on the radio. So I'll get everyone again to talk about themselves, their cultural background, and then we'll start our discussion. So my name is Candice Stewart. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and I work here at the University of Guelph in the Office of Intercultural Affairs.
Hey guys, I'm Yassin Sanya, and I'm from the Gambia in West Africa. I am currently a third-year accounting student, and I'm an OIA peer.
Hi everyone, my name is Vinusiya, and I am a fourth-year adult development student. And my cultural background is Tamil, but I was born here.
Hello everyone, as you all know me, it's Hong Lam, and I'm from Vietnam. I'm sorry if my voice is a little bit raspy. I'm kind of sick at the moment, so I'm kind of trying to get over a nasty cough. But so yeah, I'm from Vietnam, and my study right now at the university is English literature.
Okay, so to start our discussion, I know that everybody loves music. Do we all agree?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think that music is tied to culture?
Well, I do believe music is tied in with culture because music is a form of expression, and every culture has some kind of tunes or lullabies or related to their culture, and I think music is intertwined with everyday life.
Yeah, I agree. I find that music does seem to have a culture, but it's a lot more fluent in how it's defined. I think that there's no really set standard for what music is considered as cultural. So if you go to a different country, you don't really say, "Oh, this is cultural music." You just think that it's just music. But I think that it's cultural in a sense that it is accompanied sometimes by language or certain instruments that are unique to that culture, and so that's what defines that type of music in that culture. But in terms of style and rhythm and rhyming and lyrics, I guess I think that can vary between cultures, and you can also find that it could be there could be similarities in different cultures as well.
Yeah, and just to touch on what everyone mentioned, you can definitely see that when you listen to music from different cultures, you're able to identify, even if it's not the specific country it's from, you can tell what region of, say, a continent or something it's from, just based on different influences they have, like how they use drums and like guitars and instruments based on their culture. It's different, and yeah, it can definitely be categorized as such.
Okay, so it's pretty interesting because we have North American music, and I don't know, does it have a distinct sound? Can you tell that something is North American, or because of maybe many of the different influences, you may not be able to tell?
I think it's interesting that you say that because I'm not an expert in the current artists of today, but isn't maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't artists like Rihanna and Nicki Minaj have traced their background to the Caribbean? Yeah, so there are I can hear a little bit of their twang and like a little bit of their influence in that. I can hear a little bit of their accent, but is it North American music? I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I would classify that as North American because just because it's so popular here. Like for example, like our clothes, they're made from China, but they're not necessarily Chinese cultural clothes,
true,
right?
That's true.
Yeah.
So I believe it's the same with music. It comes from, the artists come from a different country, but essentially they are making it for the North American population.
Yeah.
But then again, like songs from One Direction or like British bands coming into, like the British imports, I guess, coming into North America, would they be considered North American music, or would they be considered like European music or something in between?
I think there's a difference actually between like European music and North American music. I don't know. Like when I do listen to European music, I feel it's got more like of a pop feel and more of like an electric or yeah, like that kind of feel, right? And then North American music is different, so you can definitely tell. And then also touching on the like Nicki Minaj and Rihanna thing and the whole Caribbean influence, I would consider that North American music, as she said, just because if you do listen to like actual real Caribbean music, the rhythms are, say, more defined and it's more of the Caribbean feel, whereas they just use a few influences just to keep it interesting, but still keep it mainstream like North American.
That's true.
So yes, I also do think that there is a specific North American music, and that it can be distinguished from other kinds of music. It's interesting that you brought up those groups, like the British pop groups, because they you can't really tell the accent sometimes. And I remembered when I was watching Much Music a long time ago, that one of the questions was, why don't British singers have a British accent when they're singing?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's true. everyone sounds North American, but I do agree with what Yassin said, that you can just hear the difference in the sound or the beat or the tone. So it's I think pretty easy to distinguish. Now, we talked about, say, like Nicki Minaj and Rihanna having that kind of Caribbean influence in that North American music, but it's still considered North American music. Is there some kind of music that you would consider more of a fusion? Because if you think that that's still North American music, what's the difference between that and maybe, like, say, okay, so for example, say, a North American song or singer who added a specific beat to like an African beat or a Bollywood theme?
I think that's a good question. I remember in the last show that we had on music and culture, I think GB talked a little bit about how Beyonce added a little bit of Afro beats into her songs. So I think that fusion is a bit of a gray area, I guess, in music. But then again, music, as I said, like it's really, it can be very fluid in the way it's influenced and can be interpreted. I think North American music is, because our culture in North America is so diverse, because there are so many different backgrounds of people in North America, that we can be influenced by cultural music, but it's hard to define fusion. Like, you have to define fusion first and identify what it is before you can say like what kind of song is fusion, and that's even considered a culture. I don't know. I can't think. I was saying something, but I was rambling. Now I don't know what I'm talking about.
Sorry, what was like the question? Well, I guess the difference between normal North American songs and those type of fusion songs is that the artist really wants to keep it interesting, and keep their audience like interested in their music and keep them coming back. Sometimes it's boring for them to be hearing the same beats over and over again in every single album they put out, and like today's day and age, artists are putting out albums every other year, every 6 months. Like Justin Bieber just released his Christmas album, and then another album, and then again, right? So, I definitely think it's more about just keeping the audience interested. But at the same time, I think artists, they try to be artistic, and they don't want to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah.
Right. So would you still consider that something like North American music, or yeah?
Well, I would consider the part where I would probably consider it fusion. Like, there's no other word for it, right?
Okay.
Just bringing two cultures together in an interesting way. And even though they are distinct, and you can tell that they're distinct within the song, it's interesting to see how they come together and make a completely different type of music, and let it and allow it to still be interesting and captivating for the audience.
Yeah. And I think like Kanye's song Mercy does that well. Like, you hear the chorus part and you're like, where is that from? You know, it keeps you interested. You have no idea what he's singing there. It's not him, it's someone else. And I guess it's a song he sampled. And that's just another way of like exposing different kind of music they're influenced by. And then it's not just about listening to a song and then going back to a studio and then like writing a song based on something you heard, but like, if they sample it and then they have their fans going out to search for that, because now you're like, where did he find that from? And you're on YouTube and Google trying to figure out all these different kind of things. And so basically that's how it all grows, and music is influenced. And then basically what was considered North American music back in like the 70s isn't considered North American music now, just because of the spread of influence from other cultures. So it shifts. It's not just like one stagnant thing of what it should be. So that's different too.
And we do like that, right? We do like the influences of different cultures in the so-called North American music.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty off topic, but you know, there's a big craze about the Gangnam Style.
Yes, I put that down here.
I knew it was coming up.
You know, and again, I'm from Trinidad, and my brother just sent me a message. He's in Trinidad. He sent me a message asking him, do I know the song Gangnam Style? So I was pretty surprised that it made it there, right? And I wonder what is it in some of these songs that they just make it big in North America? I don't know.
I was actually wondering the same thing, because I hadn't heard it. My brother, who's in England right now, he sent me the song. He's like, listen to this. I'm like, since when do you even listen to like K-pop and that kind of thing? So I'm just like, I was wondering, because he's like one of the few who've like made it here. If only I don't listen to that kind of music, so I wouldn't really know. But he's made it really big, and I'm just like, is it because of the beat of the song, or is it because he's got that one phrase that's in English? So everyone's like, oh, he's got it in English, let's get excited. So it depends, I guess. Maybe it's the beat, maybe it's because it's more of the dubstep, not dubstep. Oh,
I
God.
think,
Yes.
yeah, I think right now in the clubs, like that fast beat is really popular. Also, the video for Gangnam Style, all his dance moves are like classic, like so, like they look really cool. So everyone's making videos, doing the same dance moves, trying to do the dance. So I think the dance moves really helped the song become popular.
True.
Just
And
like,
I think, his motto was, he came on Ellen and he was like, the point of the song is dress classy and dance cheesy.
that's funny.
Yeah, I saw that clip too, actually. I thought that was really interesting, because a lot of people, when I saw the video for the first time, I thought it was so ridiculous, because like it was just like, you know, him in a tunnel with garbage thrown at him, and like he's in a bathrobe.
It was interesting. Yes.
Yeah, it was. I think that was one of the reasons why it contributed to his success. But when you look at his other videos, I saw some of his other videos too, and they were just as ridiculous too. But there's something about this song that made it so entertaining. And then after that, you see a lot of parodies, and a lot of like North American parodies are just, you know, copying the same beat and the same dance and same style and everything, but with English lyrics, you know, with English words. But It's so you can definitely see how North American music was totally influenced with this one Korean song that no one ever heard of before, and then just suddenly exploded onto YouTube. And I guess this is gonna be like the music of the year, but we'll see. I thought it was really interesting. So I don't know. I guess it's really, really cool that how you could just suddenly, from like in a span of how long it's been, like a month, 2 months now.
Yeah, not even
You
that
can,
long.
yeah, you can, in the span of a few weeks, maybe, you can see how quickly and how influential other cultures can influence North American music so easily. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. And then also basically all you need is just like one play on the radio or like one video of someone doing it, and you know how people are like, oh, she did a parody, I'm gonna do a parody. Just like the Beyonce craze with Single Ladies, right? One person did a video and then suddenly everyone was in like leotards like doing the dance moves. So that definitely helps to help spread it out.
Yeah. Well, to bring it back to the conversation at hand, because as Vinusiya was saying, it's all all about the dance moves and the beat and things like that. But what and as Hong said, the group is Korean. But do you really consider that cultural music because it came from Korea? Is there anything Korean about it except maybe the actors in the video? Would you consider that cultural music at all?
I think it follows a global culture, because I think there's an increased amount of globalization. Everyone's more interconnected with the internet and YouTube and Facebook. Everyone's just like, no matter where you are in the world, you have access to what another person's like. What's happening in China, what's happening in Korea, the Philippines, Caribbean, wherever you are, you have that information at hand, right? So I think the world is becoming more connected, and one way that is happening is music. So when there is good music, everyone attaches to it, and everyone passes it along and shares it and passes it to their friends, and it becomes a global phenomenon, I think, yeah. So I would say it is cultural in the fact that it's a global culture of music.
That makes sense, because we tend to think of culture, and it's something that we probably didn't talk about, or maybe we kind of talked about it, that North America also has its own culture, right? So when we think cultural music, we always think it's music from around the world, and if it's some kind of Asian kind of theme, you hear all the little what kind of instruments do they have? Like there's harps and things like that, or the Africans have their drums, or the Indians have their the Caribbean, the steel drum, or the reggae. All of those things are people think of culture, but if it's a song such as the Gangnam Style, I don't know what kind of music that is, but but if it's like a maybe say North Americanized kind of song, because it came from Korea, is it cultural? But I agree, as Vinusiya was saying, it's a global culture, right? So it's something that's kind of taken from somewhere else, but made into to sound something like different. And I think that's why a lot of people jumped on it, because we've heard similar kind of music, but not put in the same way. And then the video, everything is just a bit different. So that's why I think it really caught on a lot.
I think the genre is Korean pop. Yeah.
K-pop, that's
so
what
it's
they
K-pop.
call it. So
Yeah,
it's called.
K-pop.
Yeah.
Okay. So probably cultural.
I think that it's interesting that you say that, because as much as we want to see that, there are cultures in that, but there's also I think we tend to mix cultural music with stereotypical music, which we think that for example, the Caribbeans always associate with reggae, but not everyone's into reggae music. Although I don't know, that's Candice, that's your idea. But I know that in Vietnam, where I come from, not everyone's interested in V-pop or Korean pop or that kind of stuff. Some people are into other aspects of music, and there are artists out there who do create different types of music in their own culture, but I think the stereotype is that people always imagine if you're from a certain country, they associate you with a certain idea of what music you have in that culture. Like in India, you always have the sitar, and you always imagine that Indian people always have a sitar lying around. But, that's not always the case, right?
No.
Okay, so maybe this will be an interesting time to find out what kind of music everyone listens to, and maybe one of your favorite songs, whether it's from the past or from very recent, and why do you listen to this kind of music? What is in it that gives you this feeling of whatever you're looking out to get out of the song?
I listen to all types of music basically, and then I go through like phases, but a constant phase I have, like I love Beyonce, so I will listen to Beyonce any day, anytime, all day. So Beyonce, and then right now I also listen to Rita Ora, and she's a British singer as well, so I like her new album. And then like last night, just out of nowhere, I was like on YouTube listening to instrumental jazz, and sometimes I'm into like opera. I'm saying opera. And so yeah, I just listen to a bunch of different stuff, so it depends. I haven't really ventured into like the K-pop area and all of that, but reggae, jazz, opera, R&B, hip-hop, listen to it all. Just
I would say along the same lines. I'm open to listening to anything. I really like Tamil music, so that's definitely from my cultural backgrounds, since I understand the language as well. So I think for me, the lyrics are really important, what the song is saying, as well as the tone of the singer's voice. I find that I gravitate toward voices that are more like soft and more, there's like a melody and just like, those like raspy, eclectic singers like, I know Adele is really popular now. I used to listen to her back in high school. I love that kind of, and and also like Florence and the Machine. It's just like, it's that specific. Their voices are very like soft. They're women voices that are really soft, like Obel. I don't know if you guys have heard of her, but yeah, I like those kind of. I like different music. But I also do like the popular music as well on the charts, the top 100. I love listening to the radio, but I also like listening to songs that aren't popular.
In my case, I'm the same as Vinusiya. I tend to listen more for the lyrics of the song, and I'm the kind of person who, if I don't understand the words, or if the words are too quick, or if I can't hear the lyrics, or if it's in a different language, I always look it up online, translations or that kind of stuff. I like to look at the lyrics. I always find that the lyrics are what's most important to me. So I don't really mind what song it is, as long as the lyrics are insightful or interesting or that kind of stuff. So of course, the singer has to sound good too. So
I hate those songs, that R&B songs out right now. Like the only lyrics are the chorus, and then it just replays, and then
over and over
again.
Club songs are like really, really bad. Like,
annoying. Like those songs were. I know, there's an audience for that, for everyone.
Yeah, there is an audience for that.
But to be honest, I'm not really interested in that kind of stuff, and it's so overplayed. And it's just it's just basically talking about sex. And I don't know.
Sex, drugs, money.
Yeah. So is that a North American thing, or is that everywhere? I'm not sure, but it's so overplayed and everything. It's just like, come on, guys, you could like a better stuff than this. there's other stuff besides sex and drugs and money.
Yeah, I think one of the top YouTube videos played were one of J-Lo's song, like In the Club or something like that. And I was like, what the hell? Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So to add to this discussion, I remember it being back home and everyone listened to our kind of mainstream music, which was soca and reggae. And, anyone who listened to this kind of alternative music was just considered, I don't know, like they thought better of themselves than other people, or they weren't, very Trini, and what was wrong with them, basically. But, a lot of these songs play on the radio back home and people listen to all sorts of music. So it's just amazing how the world has it's globalized, and even in its music, what was not really listened to before in certain countries, or even here in North America, we have influences kind of all over the world, and everyone is enjoying it. So I believe music is a big part of culture, as culture is a big part of music. And so with that, I would like to thank Yassin, Hong, and Vinusiya for participating in this show today. And to thank you.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you for tuning in to another Radio Culturale show, and we hope you tune in next week.